So I know like Thanksgiving's passed and like that means you kind of automatically go right into Christmas, but I don't know, it still feels a little too soon. And even like as far as like October, people are starting to put up their lights a little bit. It's like it's all getting to be too soon. I mean, like what's next? You know, you start having Santa hats during the World Series there, so I could put it on, but I think it's too soon. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, no shocker, Aaron Judge is your 2024 American League MVP. Now, the show's been on a little bit of a holiday off-season hiatus a little bit, so yeah, not exactly new news, but again, we'll crunch his numbers and especially, compare Judge to some other Yankee legends where he stands in terms of their total MVPs. Again, the Yankees have had a lot of MVPs over the years, and of course, there is a new voice for the Yankees, and that'll be Dave Sims. Kind of give his background and kind of why I think they chose him over some of the other options the Yankees might have been considering for, again, a WFAN broadcast. And of course, we'll focus on Juan Soto and kind of get into the latest with that, even though there hasn't been really a ton of new news. But of course, there's some other areas the Yankees need help with, and that's of course first base. And of course, the name you're probably hearing is Christian Walker. So if you're not too familiar with him, again, he's a National League guy, an Arizona Diamondback guy. Maybe you don't know too much about Diamondbacks baseball. I really don't either. But again, I'll kind of give you the background on him, why he might be a good option for the Yankees. But there are other good first base options for the Yankees as well, and I'll kind of give you who I think my sleeper idea might be there for that. And of course, 2025, we're going to have a new Hall of Fame class. And if you look at the list, there's a couple of former Yankees involved, one of them being, of course, CC Sabathia, and, of course, the other one being Ichiro. Ichiro not as much because, yeah, he spent a cup of coffee with the Yankees, but you think of him more as a Seattle Mariner. But we'll at least introduce the idea of CC Sabathia as a Hall of Fame candidate. So a lot of good stuff for you this episode. We still have a whole off season ahead of us. And again, a lot of moves being made, some Yankees being tendered, non-tendered. We have all the Soto drama, a lot of stuff to get into. So make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast version of this show. So Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast. I know you like to see me, but if you want to get quicker takes, more frequent takes there, wherever you get your favorite podcast, look for Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast. And of course, if you're watching right now on YouTube, you should have done it already. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching on TV, we got double duty. Subscribe to the audio podcast and subscribe to here on YouTube. So to no shocker of all, as mentioned, Aaron Judge is your 2024 MVP for the American League. And of course, we know what happened in the National League. Ohtani took it there. And this was really a no-brainer. I mean, even by the All-Star break, we pretty much knew this was going to be the situation just with the incredible numbers they put up. But with Aaron Judge, again, the reason why it's really, really incredible is that if you remember that first month of the season, April was absolutely dreadful. I mean, through the first week of May, he was hitting well under 200 there. So the fact that he was able to recoup from that and has put up these tremendous numbers as it was is pretty amazing itself. Again, landing on 58 home runs. Just, not only did he have you can't even say he had a mediocre April. He had a disastrous, a terrible April. If he just had a mediocre April, he'd probably been well past the 62 home runs he hit back in 2022. But nevertheless, Judge, unanimous, first round there, took all 30 votes there in the first round. Of course, second place, unanimous for the second place, there was Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. And funny enough, third place in the MVP voting, at least for the American League, Juan Soto. Again, Juan Soto, 41 home runs, 109 RBIs. Again, any probably normal season, he would have probably been the MVP, possibly just for a team that went as far as the Yankees did into the World Series. But of course, Judge has had an unbelievable season where it was just no doubt about it. So I guess let's look at some of his numbers and just why he was just so dominating this season. Again, batting average 322, and again, that's probably the reason why the batting average is why he didn't get the Triple Crown. But other than that, everything else was off the charts incredible. 58 home runs, 144 RBIs. And if you want to look at in terms of leading the majors, again, this is both the National League and American League, leading all majors. He led it in home runs, RBIs, on-base percentage, slugging, and walks. So, Judge not only hitting the ball, but again, good eye at the plate, taking his walks. So, remember, Yankee fans always complain, he swings and misses too much. Maybe that's the case there. But remember, I compare how he was, he first came up in the league there, very susceptible to the, low and outside pitches there. Again, he's really disciplined himself, laying off those tough pitches there, and again, getting himself a good, hitting count there. And you want to say, well, yeah, he won the MVP in 2022. Again, it was impressive with the 62 home runs. But, this season actually might have been a little bit more impressive than the 2022 MVP season because in terms of compared to 2 years, his batting average was 11 points higher this time around. His on-base percentage was 33 points better this time around, and his slugging percentage was 15% better this time around. So yes, he had 4 more home runs in 2022, but if you look to this season, those stats I just mentioned before was even higher than he did in 2022. And this is all doing while he's pretty much playing center field. You know, he played some in 2022 as well, but of course, once Juan Soto became a Yankee to start the 2024 season, Judge had to be almost a full-time center fielder there. So, you know, Judge doing this all with all the wear and tear on his body playing center field, but still putting up these impressive numbers. And if you want to look at the terms of where he stands with other Yankee greats, with multiple MVPs, now he joins a class of pretty exclusive. You got Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Yogi, Mickey, Roger Maris, and last but not least, A-Rod. Yes, you may never forget, but A-Rod winning the MVP in both 2005 and 2007 there. So now Judge joining a very elite class, and of course this past season becoming the fastest player to hit 300 home runs, and you know, all things being equal, you know he's going to hit 500, you know, relatively soon. Again, first, should definitely kind of be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but looks like got 2 ahead of ourselves there for Aaron Judge there. But again, a very impressive season. And if you want to look at some of the votes, you know, the total votes overall, he included for the first round, he got exactly 420 votes. And of course, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. You can't make this up. You can't script this. So very good season for Aaron Judge. Now, I'm sure he would trade that in for a World Series win. So again, these MVPs are nice on a personal level, but you have to get to a point where you need to get those World Series rings. And, you know, you don't want to have a career like A-Rod where, again, A-Rod had so many credible seasons and put up incredible numbers. Now, obviously, he's probably not going to get in the Hall of Fame at least anytime soon because of all the PED stuff. But again, you look back at A-Rod's career, he only has that 1 World Series ring, and I'm sure it bothers him. So if you're Aaron Judge, you're 32, you still got some time to go a little bit, but you got to start racking up those World Series rings. You know, you want to at least get maybe at least 3 or 4, you know, for your career there. You figure out, wow, I'm one of the Yankee greats. You know, you have all these great numbers, but if you only walk away with 1 and 0 rings, it's kind of a humdinger there. And Aaron Judge isn't the only Yankee walk away with a trophy of this season. Of course, we have the official MLB winner for the American League Rookie of the Year, and that is Luis Gil. Of course, you know, we mentioned previous time his previous winning was the official Baseball Digest, but you know that's not the official MLB yet. Well, shortly after that, we got the official MLB word that Luis Gil will join another starting pitcher, of course, from the National League there. So you have 2 starting pitchers as your rookies in the year. But of course, Luis Gil, the first Yankee Rookie of the Year, and you'll have to go back since 1981, and that was with Dave Righetti there. And again, Luis Gil, very impressive. Again, coming off kind of a 2022. He had the Tommy John surgery, shut down for 23, comes back, has the very impressive spring training. Again, it was that final game against the Phillies where he struck out 8, where Aaron Boone decided to go with him as the 5th starter. Got to a really good start to the season where not only thought of him as maybe a Rookie of the Year, but even maybe some whispers that, hey, this could be a Cy Young Award winner. But reality hit him a little bit as we thought we would in the middle of the season there. Again, first time going through this as a major league, starting pitcher in the majors there. So you'd figure hit a wall a little bit, which he did. Then went towards, I would say like the third quarter of the month, had a little stint on the IL there, but then came back, had a decent, I guess, end of the season there. Again, pitched a little bit in the postseason, nothing too great there. Again, Yankees gave him a long break in between there, so but you're not going to judge him under that. But you kind of look at his first full season there. Again, your American League Rookie of the Year, and of course he'll be in the rotation next season. I think he's going to be even better. Obviously, he's got this all under his belt, and he'll learn a little bit. They'll be able to stretch him out a little bit more, and he could be even more effective. Now, stuff-wise, I mean, again, he could be just as nasty as Cole. So if he could kind of just build off that, and this kind of goes with Juan Soto. One of his demands was from Hal Steinbrenner that Yankees developing more players, putting a good team around them. Of course, yeah, sure, you want all this money, but you want a good team around. You want to be able to compete every season. Of course, the Yankees are going to do that anyway, but Luis Gil, kind of a check mark there as someone has come through the Yankee system and so far looking pretty darn good. Of course, the cloud hanging over all this is Juan Soto and where he's going to end up signing. Now, of course, I mentioned before the Yankees had their initial meeting with him. Again, some of the reports that was very positive because Hal Steinbrenner said he really has no idea how it's going to go. But again, said it was a very productive conversation. Again, Juan Soto, some of his some of his quips with the Yankee organization was the development system of their own players. And of course, we heard some of this even early in the season where, some players, kind of skeptical of how, the scouting is collected and then filtered down to the players with their swing and all that stuff there. So it seems some of the players do have some disconnect with that with the Yankee organization. But nevertheless, a lot of this is going to come down to money. Now, what we hear initially is that according to the John Heyman of the New York Post that after the Yankees' initial offer, they've upped the ante a little bit. So it seems like some other teams are throwing some money in the hat. Probably any other, there's been all different rumors out there, but the only thing sort of concrete we have at this moment is the Boston Red Sox offering about a 12-year deal, about $625 million, which then would put Juan Soto about getting $48 million per year, which is kind of crazy, but that's like, it seems like the type of money we're talking about here, what it's going to take with the Yankees. We don't know if the Yankees match that or upped over that. That all remains to be seen. But you figure this is going to take anywhere from, Soto wants anywhere from 12 to 15 years, but this definitely at some point is going to probably be over $600 million. I don't think it reaches Ohtani's $700 million, but you're probably looking a little under the $700 million there, so that's where it's going to take to land. But of course, one of Soto's other things is that he wants to be on a team that wins and competitive every season. And, all the money being equal, I still don't know what other organization can really offer that other than the Yankees, other than maybe the Dodgers. Again, the Dodgers can afford Soto. Again, they got all these people on deferred money, Ohtani, Yamamoto, and it looks like they just signed Blake Snell as well. Again, a lot of these players seem deferring money for down the road where, yes, if they just want to give a boatload of money to someone right now like Soto, they can do that financially. I just don't see the Dodgers doing that just because, yes, it's possible they can pull that one off, but at a certain point, even for the Dodgers, how many great players and how much money can be shelling out there? Like, yeah, you're generating a lot of money, but also, that's a lot of money you're spreading around like that. So I don't think he's in play for the Dodgers. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think he's in play. It just seems like it's going to come down to the Yankees, Mets, and a couple other Northeast teams, that being the Phillies and the Boston Red Sox. And if you look at all four of those organizations, I can only see the one as the Yankees that could, A, give him the money he wants and put a team around him that's going to be competitive every season. And hello. Judge just won his second MVP. He's only 32 years old. And, if you're Juan Soto, do you like hitting in front of Aaron Judge? I think you do. Do you like hitting at Yankee Stadium? I know he's not pull happy, but still, it's Yankee Stadium with the short porch and all that, 314 down the line there. So I would think he'd want to play there. We could just put up incredible numbers. And with the Yankees, whether it's them developing their own players or doing what they have to do on the free agency market to just put the best team possible they can, at least be competitive in the AL East. The Yankees are pretty much always going to be competitive. It just takes something like monumental, like Aaron Judge, last season, breaking his toe, crashing into the wall there at Dodger Stadium. Of course, remember 2008 with that whole Yankee team, they pretty much up and down the line from A-Rod to Jorge Posada to Ching-Ming Wang breaking his foot. Catastrophic injuries to take them out of contention in 2008. And the Yankees had that 2-year period. It was like 2013, 2014, where unfortunately all those Yankees from the late 2009 run there all got old. CeCe got old, had some knee problems. Teixeira was hurt. Posada got hurt. Mariano retired. Jeter retired. It takes some big monumental things for the Yankees not to make the postseason. Other than that, the Yankees are always going to be in the postseason. So I just don't know what other organization could really match that other than the Dodgers a little bit. But again, I just don't think the Dodgers, because they got, at a certain point, even for the Dodgers, enough is enough there. And of course, with Roku coming around there, they're considering that pitcher as well there. How much money can you keep adding there? So I think even for the Dodgers, I think there's a limit. So I just see it as the Yankees, Mets, Phillies, and Boston Red Sox. And if you want to look at the others there, yes, they could all give them a boatload of money, but not all of them always in contention every season. I know the Phillies and Mets got some good things going for them right now there, but a lot of that's on a shoestring and, an injury or two, and that could just all fall apart there. And if you look at the Boston Red Sox, yes, over the last 25 years, they've been more successful World Series-wide as the Yankees. But how many times Red Sox, they win a championship, and then you have 3 or 4 seasons of this nothingness? Does Juan Soto want to play in that environment? Maybe he gets a ring somewhere along the way. But, Red Sox really haven't been relevant in like 3 or 4 seasons. I don't know if Juan Soto wants to play in that sort of situation. And even go Toronto where, again, they were rumored to offer him a big deal. Toronto is miserable up there. Okay, you have the big hoopla, you first being a Blue Jay, put the uniform on, the fans go crazy. But again, that organization really has been relevant in like 4 or 5 seasons. So do you want to play up there and it's like no one's really watching the games, no one cares, you're up in Canada. So as long as the money's kind of even out, I still give the Yankees the upper hand there. Now, if some other team offers like $50 million more, then Soto can't say no to that. It's just a business. But the Yankees are relatively close to the strike zone of all the other teams. I think Soto stays as a Yankee. I think he liked it here. Obviously, he just got to the World Series. Obviously, the Yankees still need a few more pieces there. But, I think he can see the potential with this lineup. And, of course, you're playing with Aaron Judge there, back-to-back, belly to belly there. I just don't know what other team could offer a player like that to play other than Ohtani and Dodgers, which, again, I don't think he's going to go to the Dodgers. He probably stays with the Yankees. So, again, I put the odds out there by 65-70%. He stays in pinstripes. Now, less exciting names, but the Yankees have been making moves to some players that are arbitration eligible, and that's what you call the tendered and non-tendered players there. So the Yankees quickly non-tendering two players there. One would be Jon Berti, as well as Tim Mayza, the left-handed pitcher at a bullpen. And none of those really shockers to you. I mean, Berti, 34 years old, hurt for most of the season. I couldn't know in the playoffs. Played a little first base there, and for someone who had no experience, actually did a decent job. And of course, we know those images of him sliding headfirst into home there, so that'll be his Yankee moment if there is one. But 34 years old, and again, yeah, he can play multiple positions, but not a guy you're dying to bring back. And Tim Mayza, again, that's the prototypical guy off the scrap heap the Yankees picked up there. Really going to give you much anyway, so you're not shocked. So since the Yankees did not non-tender them, they will now hit free agency. So the whole deal with this is that if the Yankees have players that could go to arbitration. Now, if they tender you and offer you a contract, both sides have till January 9th to agree on a contract to avoid arbitration. But if they don't agree on the contract, it doesn't mean they're done as a Yankee. They'll still be a Yankee, but then they go to arbitration, and then you have a third party will then set the number of what the yearly salary is. So it's a little bit of a gamble. So the Yankees did tender two players, one of them being J.T. Brubaker. That's the arm the Yankees picked up from the Pirates in the start of last season. And we didn't get to see him this season. It was pretty much in the minors the whole way. We'll probably see him thrown into the mix of spring of 2025. But probably the bigger name will be Trent Grisham, who the Yankees had last season. Now, last season he made $5.5 million based on what he did the year before that. Now, if you have Trent Grisham, you have to gamble a little bit. His numbers weren't really terrific this season, so you can maybe take an offer from the Yankees or go to arbitration. The thing for Trent Grisham, if you look at his numbers, not that great. If he goes an arbiter, he's probably going to get less, significantly less than the $5.5 million he made in 2024. So what he did is he accepted the Yankees' one-year deal at $5 million. So yeah, he's going to take a little bit of a pay cut, but if he went to an arbiter based on his numbers he put up this season, he probably got even less than $5 million. So in that case, you want to gamble, you accept the Yankees offer from there because he probably would have lost if he went to arbitration. So Yankees have secured him for the 2025 season. And of course, decent guy off the bench, bopped a little home runs here and there. And of course, we know Gold Glove caliber defender, even though he kind of made a couple of blips this season, but nevertheless, again, good insurance policy there for center field. But as for Yankees who have been offered a tendered deal but have not accepted it yet, again, this could change at any moment. But these are the names, of course: Jazz Chisholm Jr., Nestor Cortez, Scott Efros, who kind of came back this season but really gave you nothing, Mark Leiter Jr., Trevino, as well as Clark Schmidt. So again, the Yankees have offered these players tender deals, so they have till January 9th to either accept it or go to arbitration. So again, doesn't mean that any of these players are going to, these are still going to be players under contract. It just depends, do they want to take the Yankees offer or gamble it by going to arbitration? So it just all depends on the situation. If you're like someone like Nestor Cortez, who didn't really have the greatest of seasons, the Yankee offer might be better, but we don't know like that. So it all depends. But of course, the two Yankees we know who won't be back next season is Jon Berti and Tim Mayza. As we know, Juan Soto is in the free agent market, but another big free agent name the Yankees are looking at is potentially Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, he declined their player option to him, and of course now he hits free agency, and the Yankees, of course, losing Anthony Rizzo because the Yankees declined Rizzo's 2025 option, which you could. I mean, Rizzo, unfortunately, just does not have it anymore in terms of being a productive power hitter, hitting 25, 30 home runs. And unfortunately, Rizzo, those days seem to be behind him. And of course, getting a little bit longer tooth. Again, the Yankees do need to make an upgrade there. Now, previously stated, I'm not totally against the idea of maybe just starting out the season with Ben Rice. You like to see him just get a full-time job there at first base to see what he could do. Again, the Yankees kind of smash him a little bit. Yeah, they gave him an opportunity, but also, he had a little DJ LeMay get in the mix, as well as Waldo Cabrera there a little bit at first base there. So, I just think maybe that messes with a play a little bit. I think if Rice gets a full opportunity to be a full-time first baseman every game, playing, 4 to 5 times a week guaranteed, to see what he could do with that. And then maybe once he get, 2 months under his belt, if he fails, then he fails, and then you can look at some other areas. But, of course, if you could bring in a big-name power hitter like Walker, as well as a Gold Glove defender, that's something that'll be a better option than all of them. So you'll see what route the Yankees go. But, of course, obviously free agents, you got to pay the guy. So they're projecting somewhere for him. Now, he's going to be 34 years old coming in March, so he'll be 34 to start the season. So you see he's probably projected to get about a 3-year deal worth $66 million. So you're looking at $22 million per year, which for his type of production and Gold Glove caliber defense is pretty reasonable price-wise there. But again, it's kind of see will the Yankees spend that extra money. Now, if you're trying to impress Juan Soto to say that you're serious about next season and you want to win a championship, well, signing him as a supplement to Soto himself, of course, would do that. But we'll look at his numbers there now. Last season, he did miss a chunk of games. He only played 130 games. He missed a chunk with an oblique injury, so that's something you have to be considering. And he's going to be another year older with that under his belt. Is he fully healed or not? We don't know. Remains to be seen. But even with that being said, did hit 26 home runs last season. The season before that, 33 home runs, and then the season before that, 36 home runs. So definitely a power hitter. And as I mentioned before, has won a Gold Glove now 3 years in a row there. So he could do it on both sides. Now he's a right-handed hitter, which years past I would say, it was a bit bad news for the Yankees because they had an overstock of right-handed hitters because you had Judge, you had Stanton, you had Donaldson, you had Gleyber Torres, you had DJ LeMahieu. But at least in recent years now, the Yankees have balanced themselves out a little bit more. So now the lineup includes more left-handed hitters. Of course, you'll have Jazz. Of course, you have that Austin Wells. You have Jason Dominguez in the mix, who's a switch hitter there. And because if the Yankees could sign Juan Soto, then that's yet another left-handed hitter lineup. So adding a right-handed out at this point, not as crazy as it was years ago. But because the Yankees, the two big right sluggers will be Judge and Stanton. Again, status on Gleyber Torres we don't know yet. So I don't think Gleyber Torres is going to be back. So who's going to play second base in the future? The Yankees, we don't know yet really right now. But it could be a lefty, all remains to be seen. But again, adding Walker as a right-handed hitter, not that terrible. But if you want to look around the majors, there's other options for the Yankees, which I think might make a little bit more sense and wouldn't require a commitment. I think Walker, again, 34 is not old, but it is a little bit risky. And we see this the way players, once they hit 35 and below, this is the way that their stats just drop right off the cliff there. Look at DJ LeMahieu as an example. Now, I don't know if I would put DJ in Christian Walker's class there, but again, DJ LeMahieu was looking great up to a certain point, and now that he's going to be 36, he's just completely fallen off the charts. Even from 2 seasons ago there. So a little bit risky to sign someone at 30, around 34 years old, but there are other options out there for the Yankees. One of them could be Pete Alonso, who's also in the free agency, but I just don't think the Yankees are going to go there. Yes, he's a great slugger, and I'm sure he'll put up some great numbers in that Yankee lineup. But you also got to look at him, you're going to have to give him a long-term deal of 5 years or more. And a couple of seasons ago, he only hit like 216. I mean, we've seen him battle some low batting averages there. Now, yeah, it was on a terrible Mets team there, and he kind of recovered a little bit. But Alonso's a really good player. He's a good slugger, and I know had that great home run in Milwaukee there, a memorable Met moment there. But he's not someone I would want to, make a long-term commitment to. So you have to take him out of the mix. Now, one good reasonable option would be Cody Bellinger of the Cubs. Supposedly they're making him available. Now, he's signed through next season for about $30 million. Now, it seems like the Cubs would be willing to pick up some of his money, and he offers the Yankees a couple of things. I mean, he's a left-handed bat, which is always great for Yankee Stadium, duh. But he plays 2 positions. He plays first base as well. He play center field. So if you want to spell Judge a little bit and keep a quality player in there and maybe move Judge as a DH for that particular game, Bellinger would be that option. And if you look at the season last year, a pretty decent season. Hit 266, 18 home runs, 78 RBIs. On a Cubs team wasn't really that good. Played 130 games, so rather durable. And he's only 29 years old, about 5 years younger than Walker. So that might be the better option for you. And again, in that case, the Cubs will just take some prospects and again maybe eat some of this money there. And if you're the Yankees, you have to shell out like almost $70 million. So that might be the better option for him. And then after the 2025 season, you just let Cody Bellinger walk and no big deal. Or maybe decide to keep him, even at 30 years old, he's still young. So maybe you can offer him a multi-year deal after that there. So that might be a better option for the Yankees. And another option I think will be a real good sleeper option for the Yankees, even though he's a little bit long in the tooth, will be Carlos Santana, most recently now of the Minnesota Twins. Again, long time with the Cleveland Indians at the time, then Cleveland Guardians. But this past season, with the Minnesota Twins at age 38. Now, yes, he's a little older there, but won his first Gold Glove of his career. So, again, give you great defense there. He's a switch hitter with power. Now, he's not an average guy. I mean, he hit like 239 last season, but had 23 home runs. So, still send the ball a long way. And sitting in Minnesota, it's not really for a left-handed hitter, especially if he's hitting left-handed. Not really the greatest of ballparks, but of course, you put him in Yankee Stadium hitting left-handed, he could probably even surpass the 23 home runs. And he's going to be 39 years old. So, at most, you could offer him a 1-year deal. It's not a long-term commitment. And it's sort of like, all right, if he's hurt and he stinks, whatever, you could just drop him or DFA him. Again, he's not on a long-term commitment. I can't expect him to command a lot of money. I mean, maybe a 1-year deal around $5 million, that might work for him. And that's, again, a situation where you don't have to trade any prospects. You don't have to shell out some big money there. And you get a good quality first baseman, a veteran there, could still play defense. And again, I'm sure, he'll get well along with everybody in the clubhouse there. Again, he's been around the game for a while there, so that might be even a better option than all the other ones. But it seems like the Yankees are going to have to do something. I'm okay if they want to try Ben Rice there, but having a mishmash of Rice/DJ/Oswaldo Cabrera there, that's not really strong. Again, you want like your infield, the guy to kind of be the same guys every day. You figure Jazz is going to be the same guy at third base every game. Volpe's solidify his stop at shortstop. We'll see what the Yankees do at second base there. They may bring someone in. Again, or you have like someone like Durbin who might come in there from the farm system and maybe start the year off there. But you just want to have this steady Eddie in the infield there. You don't want guys flipping out and like, flipping time between DJ and some other guy and Rice like that. Whoever the Yankees decide, I wish they just pick one guy and go with them. They want to do Ben Rice to start the season, fine. But if you want to make it someone like Walker, that would be the greatest, of all three, even though it's a little bit risky. Or just pick up someone like Bellinger or Santana as an option there, and just at least have an infield that's solidified. So same five guys almost every game there, just to give the team some cohesion. And for off-the-field news, the Yankees have announced their new play-by-play man for the Yankees radio broadcast, replacing the great John Sterling, and that would be Dave Sims. One of the names he was kind of mentioned towards the middle of the season as a possible replacement coming to the season there, and we never mentioned on the show just because it's a rumor you don't know, but it seems like they were kind of focusing on this gentleman. Now the Yankees, of course, with Sterling down, he came back a couple times this season, of course, did the postseason there, but we'll kind of try to pair Susan with both a split time between Justin Schachtel and Emmanuel Barbari. Of course, Emmanuel Barbari, friend of the show, been on the show twice there, but it did seem like the two of them really were mixed. I mean, you get to see where Susan interacted with the two if you listen to some of the broadcasts. She took a little bit more of a shine to Schachtel than over Barbari. But even both of them didn't sound fake. And of course, a bit of an age gap there. Of course, Susan herself in her early 70s. Of course, John Sterling was in his 80s. So it makes sense with Dave Sims. I mean, he's 71 years old. So I just think that a pairing of those two together, just age-wise, it's probably a better flow for just the radio and the broadcast overall there. So that's why I think they went with that decision. Now, he's not exactly a stranger to WFAN. He was with the Fan back in the late 80s. He had a midday show from 1989 up to 1993. Now, he's a Philadelphia native, but again, no stranger to WFAN. Now, the last 17 seasons since 2007, been the play-by-play man for the Seattle Mariners, so he leaves the Mariners to come here to the Fan there. And again, I just think more had to do with the age thing. You just listen to some of the banter between, especially Susan and Barbari back and forth. It seems like, anytime you would say something, she would snap back at him. And so I just think it was sort of like, who's this young whippersnapper with me like that? So I think they just wanted to pair her with someone a little bit her age. So it makes total sense. And of course, he's got a smooth voice, sounds great. So I'm sure it's all going to work out. But of course, we're all going to miss John Sterling. But maybe he'll come back, here and there as a guest. I'm sure he will, because as much as he, enjoys his man cave, as he says, he also, I think he loves doing the Yankee broadcast. So I don't think we've seen the last of Sterling. And closing out the episode, of course, we have the Hall of Fame talk, of course, 2025 class just introduced. And, of course, two familiar names you sure popped at you is both CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki. Of course, Ichiro, as I mentioned before, if he does get into the Hall of Fame, he's definitely going to wear the Seattle Mariner hat, which I have no problem with. I mean, he's a Seattle Mariner. That's just the way it is. We had some fun with him, but he was definitely a Seattle Mariner. Because we look at the name we want to look at, of course, CC Sabathia, bounced out a little bit, came up with the Cleveland Indians, was traded to the Brewers, had a good postseason run with them. Of course, finished his career out with the Yankees with one World Championship. Should have had at least another one, but nevertheless, good distinguished career there. But of course, the debate will be, is he a Hall of Fame pitcher there? So, not going to fully break it down in this episode because I think it's going to be a lot of numbers and stuff like that, and I want to give it its justice. And plus, we need some stuff to talk about in the offseason there. So, we'll in the future we'll have a CC Sabathia, a full argument there where I think he should be or should not be. But what the facts remain is that the Baseball Writers Association members have till December 31st to cast their ballot, which would then be announced January 21st of 2025. So we got more than a month to chew on this a little bit, so we'll break down all the numbers. Now, short term, I would say probably at least CC gets in. Of course, Ichiro, because had a distinguished career, but he also got play a lot in Japan as well. So I think they both will get at some point there, but I will make that argument at a later date.
Yeah.